Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. This is our TNA show for the week. My name is George Coles and let's get right into the action. First we have the main event Mafia coming out to congratulate Chris Sabin on his win of the World Championship last week. Which brings us Bully Ray, flanked by a lawyer. Basically the lawyer says since Sabin cheated, they're going to sue to get the belt back. Yada yada yada. Nice little opener, nice recap for anybody that might have missed the fact that Sabin's a world champion now. Gets the show started off right. And the first match we have of the night is for the vacant X Division Championship. We have Sanjay Dutt versus Manic versus Greg Marashula. I hope they give him a different name because I'm butchering that badly. I thought this was one of the better matches of the night. I really enjoyed what they did. Manic winning the championship, I was impressed by that. I really would have liked to see Sanjay Dutt get it just so he could get away from that horrible moniker of the best X Division wrestler never to win the X Division championship. But I thought it was a great match. Good way to start the show off and running. Now our next match of the night, after we had the Aces and Eights, particularly Bully Ray, telling Mr. Anderson that he needs for him to win the Bound for Glory series. So we have a Bound for Glory match. Hernandez versus Mr. Anderson. A solid match. Anderson wins the match pretty decently. I like this. I really hope that they're going to build something where Anderson maybe doesn't win the Bound for Glory but starts having a stronger showing and builds off of that for future. As you know, if you've watched that show, watched our show, I'm an Anderson fan. I think he can do so much better than what he's given the opportunity to do. Well, that's just my opinion. Next we have, and of course Anderson wins. Next we have Velvet Sky coming out talking about she made a mistake. She shouldn't have let Mickie James know she was injured. She's going to be on commentary for the match between Gail Kim and Mickie James. Solid match. There was a tease in the match all the way up till almost the end that Gail Kim was going to turn face. However, Gail gets in an argument with ODB, who's the referee during the match, and pushes her, thus pretty much causing the distraction that leads to her losing. Somewhat similar to the way the feud started with Tara Terrell, which is, I think, one of the better feuds in TNA this year, Tara Terrell and Gail Kim. We have Brooke Hogan come out basically saying that ODB is going to wrestle Gail Kim now based on that. Pretty good in my opinion. Nice. I'd like to see that. I like to see ODB coming back in the division. She's a very talented wrestler with a very different skill set than what they've been showing with their other female wrestlers. I'm not saying that they're not talented, but it's just someone different. Now, taking a little bit of a break from the action, we're going to go into our question of the week from last week. The question was, do you guys like the pay-per-view themed TNA shows? Last week's was a Destination X theme. And I've got a couple answers before I get into mine. First is from Metal Ruler 45. I like these pay-per-view themed shows. It gives fans something new to look forward to. The next is from our friend Handsome Pat Vannon. The themed TV shows allow for storyline climaxes and progression without stretching TNA resources to provide 12 pay-per-views a year. Very excellent point there. I like what they did. Me personally, I would have preferred them to do a Clash of the Champions Saturday night's main event sort of thing, whether it be on Spike TV or maybe even finding a second network that'll run maybe once quarterly a special. They could do a live special once every month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever it may be. I think that something along the lines of Clash of Champions, and then you call them the former pay-per-view names, or you can name them whatever you want, but kind of like a free pay-per-view show. Now you leave Impact alone, leave Impact be the way it is. We already have themed impacts. We have the gut check challenge impacts, the the one to open Fight Night Impact. So, and with Bound for Glory being an ongoing theme throughout for the next few months, I think that it would be best if they separated it. I do like, if they're not going to do that, I do enjoy the fact that they're giving us something like that on TV. Now, the question of the week for this next week, or for this week, is what is your opinion of the new X Division title? They debuted a new design. We've seen it on the show. Let us know what you think. Hit us up on our Facebook, hit us up on our Twitter, put it down where? Down there. Right in the comments. So we'll talk about that next week, what we think, and talk about some of the opinions you guys give us. Now, the next match of the night was one I was absolutely looking forward to. Christopher Daniels versus Samoa Joe. I thought this was decent. I liked that they played up the fact that Daniels has never beaten Joe in TNA, which leads to Anderson somewhat interfering, distracting Joe, and Daniels picking up the win. I thought it was good. I think anytime you get the combination of these two guys in the ring together, it's going to be good. These two and AJ Styles are probably the three guys that you can put any combination in, and they're going to work an awesome match together. Christopher Daniels is something, and I know you guys have seen, if you have a Twitter account and you follow some wrestling, which you probably do if you're watching our show here. Dixie Carter did an Ask Dixie, or you put the hashtag Ask Dixie. A lot of people used it as a way to flame on TNA and the progress and the not so progress, the release of characters or wrestlers. I used it in a positive way, and she sent me a direct message on it. I asked her, I said, are we ever going to see Christopher Daniels as a world champion? I think he's the best TNA wrestler to never get a shot with the main belt. Basically, she direct messaged me back and said, I agree. Hopefully sometime we will. Not giving away, obviously she doesn't want to give away storylines if that's something they got planned, if that's something they never planned to do. But I thought it was a little bit cool. I appreciate her doing that. I hope the fans that are just bombing her with crap aren't gonna take away from her wanting to do that. Matt Hardy does a similar thing. Ask Matt, and he gets a decent response. Just remember, guys, when you're doing this, try and be a little bit respectful. Whether you like or dislike the product, these are, they're doing this for their fans. They're doing it for people that actually like the product. Now, you might say to her, whatever if you have a grievance, you might say, hey, I don't like the way this is going. Can you tell me something that might change my mind? I kind of felt bad for her that she got crapped on so badly, and TNA is getting really hammered in the wrestling press and wrestling dirt sheets, basically calling it the end of WCW. I hate to take it off on a rant here when we still got a bit of the show, but while I'm talking about this, I'll keep going on that subject. Everything kind of has to hit rock bottom before it can get better. Everybody's calling for the demise of TNA. TNA is an 11-year-old company. They've done pretty well for themselves. Other than a company like WCW, who pretty much took over Jim Crockett Productions, which was already successful, there's not been a company that this quickly, a wrestling company, built this much as they have. The WWE was a company since the 60s. They didn't go national until the late 70s, early 80s, I'm sorry. They didn't really start being super, how can you say, they didn't start being a huge money-making machine to the mid-80s. It took them 20 years to get to that level. And then they almost lost it in the 90s. They very well, if a couple moves would have went a different way, we'd still be watching Monday Nitro and Thursday Thunder and not Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown. Just a couple little things went their favor. So when you trash TNA, remember It's a company that's given a lot of people jobs, a lot of people you like. A lot of these guys wouldn't get jobs in the WWE or anywhere else. I like the fact that they seem to be doing something to change the product to make it better. And hopefully it does get better and we get better and better shows. I think they got some of the most amazing wrestlers in the world on the roster. And they by far got the best women's division and one of the better tag team divisions in the world. So I just hope you guys just see the forest through the trees, basically. We might be hitting speed bumps here and there, but hopefully TNA pulls out of it and they keep going and keep giving us a great show, giving us an alternative to WWE. I mean, there's not much out there. Ring of Honor is great. It's a wonderful promotion. It doesn't get the national exposure. There's two companies that get national exposure. That's TNA and WWE. And hopefully TNA, at some point, it doesn't need to compete with WWE. It just needs to keep giving us good shows. And that's what I want. Anyway, back to the show I'm actually talking about. Sorry about that tangent. The whole Dixie Carter thing got me on a little run. Basically, mostly because I've met her before, and she's a very nice and intelligent woman, and I think she really is doing the best she can. But basically, we go back into the show. We have another Bound for Glory series match, AJ Styles versus Jeff Hardy. I thought this was a fabulous match. I thought it had the potential to be a little bit better than what it was. But I'll take it for what it is, a good television match. AJ picking up the win again. I like that they're going somewhere with AJ. His character is intriguing now, the most intriguing it's been to me in a few years. And I know I've said it's derivative of the Sting character, but they're starting to split it apart a little bit, show a little bit of AJ, not a 97 Sting ripoff. So going forward, I really enjoyed it. I want to see where this goes. And coming off of that, we go into the main segment of the night. Bully Ray basically coming out for because they gave him to the end of the night to give the title back to him. Saban comes out, Hulk Hogan comes out. Hogan says, no, we're not giving you the belt back. But in a month or 3 weeks, whatever it is, you're going to be in a steel cage match against Chris Sabin at Hardcore Justice, which is another themed TNA show. I like the idea. I like the steel cage aspect of it. I'd feel bad for Sabin dropping it back just like that real quickly, but that's really what I see happening. I see somehow, some way, Bully gets his belt back, because I think the build is going to be Magnus versus Bully Ray coming off of the Bound for Glory series. Just my opinion. Kind of like, and I just bash people for doing this, but remember back in the day when Lex Luger beat Hulk Hogan on Monday Nitro and lost the belt back to him that Sunday at a pay-per-view, and that was on the build-up for the eventual Sting vs. Hulk Hogan championship match, which everybody was looking for. I think the match that everybody wants is someone like Magnus or AJ Styles versus Bully Ray at Bound for Glory. Just my opinion. While we're speaking of Hogan, we have a thing we do every week. If you're new to the show, then this is our running TNA segment. We have our Hulk Hogan Thunder Lips count for the week, and he's at, 4. 4 times we see Hogan on the show. I've said it before, I'll say it again, the sweet spot for me is 2. I think anything more than 2 is Hogan overkill, and I think there was some Hogan overkill in the show. With that being said, we're going to go right into the ratings. Now, if you've seen the show before, you know we do a rating scale of 1 to 5. 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. A 1 is a Jesse Goddard, 2 is a Garrett Bischoff, 3 is a James Storm, 4 is a Christopher Daniels, 5 is a Kurt Angle. I'm going to give this one a James Storm a 3. There was some stuff to enjoy. The X Division match was great, was good. The 3 Bound for Glory matches were good. Gail Kim versus Mickie James I thought could have been better. Just the wonky ending of it take away from me a little bit. The thing with Velvet Sky, a little bit cheesy. It didn't have any bearing on what happened. The whole lawyer, Bully Ray, Aces and Eights thing, a little bit out of character, but I understand it's a heel thing to do, but it just didn't sit right with me. Overall, I thought it was an okay show, not great. So I'm going to give it a 3 at James Storm. Hopefully coming back next week it'll be a better and better show. But basically that's all I have to say about this. My name is George Coles, and this has been another episode of Heel Heat.